The recent announcement of the new death in service life assurance payment for frontline National Health Service and social care workers and anyone delivering care in that environment of £60,000 should they die, which will be payable to their family, should they die having contracted COVID in the delivery of that service, was undoubtedly a very welcome and a tremendous thing that should have been announced for the government. It's a limited time only scheme, as I've referred to in a past video. But what it got me to thinking, and I couldn't help it, was just, is that enough? Now we know that the 60,000, and it probably isn't, is the short answer, but we were told that the National Health Service average salary is £30,000. So that 60,000, rather like many pension schemes, amounts to twice times your salary. And of course that is brilliant and will keep you going for some time and will be really helpful for some families. But how much would a family really need? And it will probably be more than £60,000. And that's what led me to think about recording this video, because I mean, just taking a very simplistic level, if you wanted to have £30,000 pre-tax to match the salary to sustain you for the rest of your life, then and that would be quite a demanding sort of objective to have, that if you did want that, then at yields of, you know, lowish yields, if you're looking at 3%, you would need £1 million to produce that, not 60,000. £1 million, that's, you know, it's quite a lot of money. Now, I'm not saying you would necessarily need that much. You wouldn't need to have the salary replaced for your entire lifetime and with the capital intact, but that's just the magnitude of life cover that people need. And so when people don't have life insurance and decide not to have it because I've already got some life cover, I'm covered by my company pension scheme, then that important next step is to ask that all important question, yeah, but how much cover do you have? And to look at just how much cover you have, because it's the real number that really counts, not just having some cover, it's having enough cover. And enough will depend on what you deem enough, what's right for your family. As I mentioned, if you wanted to retain a full capital sum and have that constantly churning out an amount of money that replaces an amount of money that was being earned by the person who died, then you'll be looking at some pretty serious numbers. I think that announcement of the 60,000 and the fact that we're all thinking probably a little bit more about our own mortality, the importance of wellness, the importance of health is everything, then I think there's actually a responsibility. This is not an opportunity, it's just we have a responsibility to talk to our clients about life insurance, about critical illness insurance, about health insurance, just to check that there's enough there within the context probably of a general financial wellness conversation, that there would be enough there if, God forbid, something happened to the main earner or earners in a family, and to really rigorously test that, to at least put it out there and get people to think about it, because it, you know, for their own good, not in an opportunistic sales kind of way, just to say, this is something I need to do as your financial advisor. It's probably a hard question, but I need to ask it. I mean, you might even fire me for asking this question, but you should definitely fire me if I don't ask it, which is a way of putting things that I unashamedly stole from Carl Richards, of course. But anyway, I think it's a great way of putting it. It's a question that we do need to ask. And we're perfectly placed as financial planners to be able to work up an answer that's affordable and is effective for the particular client that you are talking to. I mean, carrying out a personal liability or wellness audit is one way of approaching it. If you want to give it a word, if you're running a business, then absolutely a liability audit for the business and a business intestacy check. What would happen if you died? What would happen to your shares? It all starts in both of those cases as an individual and as a business owner, but what would you want to happen? So we're not talking numbers, just what would you like to happen if, God forbid, something bad happened to you, and you work from there. People won't come to you with specific financial goals and definite numbers in mind. Right, I need this much life insurance. Absolutely, they're probably not even thinking of it. So it's our job to actually just get underneath what they would want to happen, what would make them feel good, what would feel the right thing to do, and then you put the numbers around that. So I probably said a little bit too much on that subject, but it's something I feel really strongly about and something I think we can really do some good in. So I would encourage you to go out there in whatever way is appropriate for the particular client you're dealing with, but having those conversations and asking those questions, I think is something that we have a real responsibility to do.